How do we apply the effect retrospectively? How do we apply the effect retrospectively? Suppose we are in business, I'm just assuming we are in business from 2015. And we have inventories which were recorded at FIFO, and now we wish to record them at weighted average. On each balance sheet date, so the inventories were suppose 3,500. $4,000. I'm just taking some imaginary figures. 6,000, 2,500, 4,500. Our current year is 31st March 2019. Comparative year 31st March 2018. Beginning of earliest period presented. Beginning of earliest period presented. It will be first April 2017. So we have the balance sheet of 31st March 2017, which says that inventory was standing at 4,500. And we need to convert the balances into weighted average, and we got to know that now the requirement is that applying the effect retrospectively, as if we have been doing since beginning. We need to apply the effect retrospectively, means we'll go back and recalculate the calculation of inventories in the manner as if we have been applying weighted average since beginning. There is a catch here that we'll apply the effect retrospectively as far as it is practicable to do so. There's one relaxation. Apply the effect retrospectively as far as it is practicable to do so. Because we may be in existence since 1956, and it may not be possible for us to go back till 1956 to convert all the inventory items which we have been using FIFO. We recalculate all the items till 1956 to convert it into weighted average and bring the cumulative effect till 31st March 2017. It may not be possible. So it says that you can go back as far as it is practicable to do so. This is a relaxation which is given by the standard in applying the retrospective effect. So when we had gone back, so I believe we started operations in 2013, and we got to know that we need to change the method now, because weighted average gives fairer presentation. We are allowed to change the method only if we can prove that the new method gives fairer presentation, or the new change gives fairer presentation than we were using. We got to know that weighted average values are 4,000, 3,500, 5,600, 3,700, and 6,200. The cumulative effect, the change is that the inventory was supposed to be higher by 500. It was lesser by 500 in year 2, 400, 1200. The cumulative effect till date. The cumulative effect till date is that inventory should be higher by 2500. So the balance sheet on 31st March 2017 is showing that the inventory is recorded at 4500. This is according to the previous accounting. We need to present one more balance sheet of the beginning of the earliest period presented whenever there is a change in accounting policy, whenever there is a correction of error, and whenever we are applying IFRS for the first time. In these three situations, we need to apply the effect retrospectively. I'm writing all the three. Apply the effect retrospectively and present one additional balance sheet in these circumstances. And the circumstances are: one, change in accounting policy. Whenever there is correction of error, correction of prior period error, whenever we are applying or adopting first time adoption of IFRS, first time adoption of IFRS. In these three situations, we need to apply the effect retrospectively and we need to present one additional balance sheet in these circumstances. And as far as it is practicable to do so. In the case of first time adoption of IFRS, to make our life easier, they have introduced a standard known as IFRS 1 simply to allow transition by dividing all the line items in the balance sheet in the category of mandatory exemptions and optional exemptions to apply the retrospective effect. To apply the retrospective effect. So how does it make difference to the lives of people who are going to transition from the previous GAAP to the new GAAP? That there is a guidance which will help us not to go back, not to apply the effect retrospectively, makes our life easier. Like property, plant and equipment, whatever is recorded in the previous GAAP can be carried forward in the same value at deemed cost. Any foreign currency translation reserve can be reset to zero. So there is a facility provided by IFRS 1 first time adoption of IFRS that please move and change to the new GAAP. I know that you're going to face difficulty if you apply the effect retrospectively on every line item present in the balance sheet. So we give you a facility by dividing all the line items into two categories: mandatory exemptions and optional exemptions. Optional exemption means that you can apply the effect retrospectively. If you do not wish to apply the effect retrospectively, there is a way out given in IFRS 1 first time adoption of IFRS that you can carry it at the same value. You can reset it to zero. You can apply the effect today and tomorrow. You may not go back and you may not have to apply the effect retrospectively. So this is a facility standard. I call it a facility standard for transition. Is it complex? What do you say? Will it make our life difficult or easier? And they have given mandatory exemptions, like, as I said, estimates. We can never apply the effect retrospectively, even if IFRS 1 didn't exist. So they have used their common sense to even highlight the areas where retrospective application is not possible. So wherever retrospective application is not possible, they have included them as part of mandatory exemption. So this example is serving three questions: how the retrospective effect is applied, and in these three circumstances, Whenever we apply the effect retrospectively, we need to present 3 balance sheets that year. Three balance sheets. Which are those 3 balance sheets? Current year, comparative, and one more balance sheet of the beginning of the earliest period presented. What difference does it make to the lives of people? What will be the value of? Please keep on mute. What will be the value on 1st April 2017 of inventory? What should be the value? How it is 2000? So till 31st March 16, the cumulative effect was 800. And when we recalculated on 31st March 17, it turned out to be 1700. Total impact 2500. On recalculation of inventories, that these are the changes. So 2500 is the total increase in terms of inventories if we apply the effect retrospectively as if we have been doing since beginning. The value of inventories will be, I've already given you the answer, but I just want you to think, applying the effect retrospectively, that this year the inventory should have been higher by 7500. Previous year the inventory should have been higher by 1200. 15, it should be lower by 1400. So cumulative effect till date is 2500 increase in inventory. So whatever is the value of inventory on 31st March 17, this is according to, now there are 3 things happening. Either it is a value of the previous gap, either it is a value of the previous accounting policy, or either it is a value which is containing an error. The retrospective effect will be applied in the same manner whether you are changing an accounting policy, whether you are changing the gap, or whether you are correcting a prior period error. We can also say that this is with error and these numbers are without error. We can also say that these are previous gap and these are the numbers according to the new gap. But we need to bring in the cumulative effect till date and present it as part of the beginning of the earliest period presented, because these have gone unrecorded. If I directly take the value of the 6200, this may have gone unrecorded. So if I value now inventory, I can directly 4500 plus make an adjustment of 2500 and I'll get the value of inventory which is bringing in the cumulative effect. This is according to weighted average. Now I can calculate the value of inventory for 31st March 18 and 31st March 19. I'm just assuming they may be 6500 or 4500, whatever the value, since I'm taking some imaginary figures.
Sir, but for 1st April 2017, we have to take weighted average value, na?
Yes, 1 second. Since I've taken some imaginary figures, this difference should be same.
No, sir. I'm talking about the 400 and 1200 difference, sir.
Which one?
I'm talking about the effect of this. Actually, 500 is knocking off. the entire bid. This
This
will be
is-
like 6,200 plus this figure, sir.
This was 800 till now, and this year 1700 difference, so total difference 2500.
Yes, sir.
This is 800 difference, then 1700 of 31st March, 1700 total cumulative difference till 31st March 17 is 2500. So whatever was the value present on 31st March 17, we simply need to add or minus in it, and the corresponding entry will be in the retained earnings. Now we need to increase inventories by 2500. So on the retained earnings side, the adjustment will be credit 2500. So we have been successful in applying the effect retrospectively, and all the adjustments for retrospective effect will be against retained earnings, whether you are correcting a prior period error, whether you are applying the change in accounting, whether you are applying the change in accounting policy, or whether you are transitioning for the first time. All the difference is adjusted against retained earnings. So every line item now, here inventory was higher by 2500. It can be property, plant and equipment. It can be your other assets, which can be plus or minus. On the liability side, there will be some plus or minus. The cumulative effect of both plus and minus of assets and liabilities gets adjusted against retained earnings, and we get converted balance sheet, or we get one more balance sheet of the beginning of the earliest period presented, which has included change in accounting policy. So Kshitij, this entry is posted in the beginning of the earliest period presented balance sheet. The third balance sheet, that's the, this balance sheet. In the first April balance sheet, we make this adjustment. This entry is not in P&L or not in, this is directly done in the balance sheet. It will look like this. 31st March 2017, 1st April 2017, 31st March 2018, and 31st March 2019. You can call it previous gap. IFRS or Ind AS. We can call it, this is with error. We make the adjustment in the error, and this becomes without error. And automatically that without error figure gets transferred to the 31st March balance sheet as well as 31st March 19. We can also call it previous accounting policy. New accounting policy. In all the three situations, we have to apply the effect retrospectively. When we're changing the gap, when we're correcting an error, when we're changing an accounting policy, these are the three balance sheets we need to publish. And this is the balance sheet which will pick as part of transition. So this becomes the date of transition. Date of transition is 1st April. This becomes the first financial year. From 1st April 18 to 31st March 19 is the first financial year if you're changing the gap. The first financial year is 2018 and 19. The first balance sheet of compliance will be of 31st March 19. So don't get confused between the date of transition and financial year dates. So sometimes the transitional, so there will be transitional standards which will say that the transitional provisions apply from financial year 1st April 2018, which means that the first balance sheet will be of 31st March 19, or the date of transition for this transition is applicable from 1st April 17. It is one and the same thing. If the date of transition is mentioned that it is 1st April 17, then also we need to present the first balance sheet of 31st March 19. If the financial year is mentioned that the financial year is The transition will be applicable from financial year 1st April 18 to 31st March 19, then also the balance sheet of 31st March 19. So language is sometimes confusing. So please understand the difference between date of transition and the date mentioned for financial year applicability. Is this clear to everyone? I purposely done all the three together because they are interrelated, and in future there will not be confusion in your minds why we are changing, why there is a difference, and also the difference between IFRS 1 and IS 8. Hope the difference is clear to everyone.
Yeah, Amit, just one question.
Yes.
So, shouldn't my actual inventory be 6,200 for that year?
Yes,
And
I was waiting for that question.
yeah,
So
and plus and minus the adjustment, whichever is there.
yes, I purposely left it unattended, purposely so that I wanted you to think. The reason why it is happening is because I've taken some imaginary figures. So the balance or the difference should have been exactly the difference between these two, because I'm also recalculating them since beginning. I'm recalculating as if since beginning. So this difference total change difference should have been equivalent to 1700 difference, because I am recalculating it as if we have been using weighted average since beginning. And if I've been using weighted average since beginning, my inventory valuation should have been 4,000, 3,500, 3,600, 3,700, and 6,200. But it is actually 4,500. So if I've been using FIFO, the value should have been 4,500. But if I've been using weighted average since beginning, the difference should have been, the value as on 31st March 17 should have been 6,200. Got it? When I say apply the effect retrospectively, I mean that I've been applying as if I've been doing since beginning. And if I've been applying it as if since beginning, so the value should be 6,200 as on this date. What is the value today?
Okay, so it is 45. So as on 31st March 17, in my balance sheet, actual inventory will be 6,200, right? Plus the 1,700 adjust.
So the difference will be 6,200 minus 4,500, and the new inventory value will be recorded at 6,200.
Right. Got it. And the entry should be 1,700, is it? For the
Yes.
adjustment, right? Got it. Okay.
Sir, can you repeat that part? The transition dates, sir?
Is this clear, Praveen?
This point clear, sir.
So this is a common mistake which is done while applying the effect retrospectively, and this word is ignored as if we have been doing since beginning. So it is confusing sometimes that whether we'll directly take the difference of each year, but they are interrelated. See, inventory valuation is interrelated. One inventory valuation is interrelated. So there's one. I'll come to your point, Praveen. Let me clarify this area. So there are two things happening here. When we apply the effect retrospectively, we need to see whether the change is cumulative in nature. Is it impacting all the previous years? If it is impacting all the previous years, then the final balance on recalculation is the new balance. And if the change is not cumulative in nature, if the change is belonging to one particular year, means that there was a stationary expense which was supposed to be recorded at 2,000 but recorded as 20,000. Now to adjust this, do you need to bring in cumulative effect? Do you need to recalculate all the expenses of stationery since beginning, or what you'll do? We can simply adjust this against the retained earnings of this year, and it is taken care of. But in case of inventory, or in case of your property, plant and equipment, if you're charging depreciation reducing balance method, if you're charging depreciation on straight line method, it will not impact cumulatively. But if you're charging depreciation or reducing balance method or written down value method, your each year gets impacted and you have to recalculate it. So when you recalculate it, the new balance will be on the new accounting policy or the new change, like we did here. The weighted average recalculation, as if we have been using weighted average since beginning, will give us the balance of 31st March 17. And when we have the balance of 31st March 17 at 6200, that it should have been 6200, but the current balance is recorded at 4500. I'm stressing on this point because this is the same method being used for transitioning. That will pick up every line item. Wherever we apply the effect retrospectively, we'll go back and recalculate and bring the value to this value as on 31st March 17, according to new GAAP or according to corrected error. So I'm trying to do three things together just for clarification, because indirectly we are touching some bit of IFRS 1 first time adoption of IFRS, but I'll be discussing every line item of first time adoption of IFRS in detail, that how that conversion happens. Okay, is this clear?
Amit, just one question in
Yes.
the inventory part. So if we do the adjustment entry for only 1700, right? The effect of the previous years is not getting into, is not.
See, this 3700 has, I have written some imaginary figures, 44,000, 3500, 5600, something.
Mm-hmm.
The effect is coming in because the 4000 is calculated since beginning. The 3500 is calculated as if we have been using weighted average. 56
okay.
as if we have been using weighted average. So automatically 3500 is carried forward and recalculation is done on this of that year, and 5600 is the new amount for 31st March 15. Then 5600 carried forward, recalculated 3700, carried forward, calculated 6200. So automatically the effect is coming in because there is an interrelation.
Okay. But
Okay.
in the balance sheet for 31st March 13, 14, 15, and 16, we would have recorded our inventory at 3500, 4000, 6000, and 2500, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since we
So,
have, so what, so the, if we were allowed to present 7 balance sheets,
mhm.
like present all the years balance sheet which has happened till date, then we would have done this.
Then
4000,
then we would have adjusted in all of the.
all of them. But we do not have any option of presenting all the balance sheets till date. We are required to present only 3 balance sheets. So the only
Okay.
option left to us is that we make the adjustment in the beginning of the earliest period presented balance sheet.
Understood. Got it.
We have no
Thanks.
option. So we recalculate, again I'm stressing, we recalculate as if we have been doing since beginning. And when we recalculate, we get the value on the new accounting policy, new GAAP or corrected error. This figure is new accounting policy, it is according to new GAAP, or it is the corrected value. In all the 3 circumstances, we'll use this value as the first April 17 value, and any difference will be adjusted against the retained earnings. Clear?
Got it. Thanks.
Yes, Praveen, now I'll come to your question.
Sir, so as far as I understand, like we'll make the calculation from the beginning year. However, we will take the impact of the last year.
Final figure.
Okay, fine.
Yes, right. So that's what cumulative effect meant. I purposely wrote it because that's the common mistake which I've been noticing for many years. Okay. That when I say cumulative effect, the difference of each year is taken and it doesn't match sometimes. By chance, in some of my sessions, by chance matched, but the confusion remained. So I did it again so that there is a clarity in your thought that cumulative effect means we are recalculating as if we have been doing since beginning. Is this clear? And this becomes the final figure according to weighted average. Forget FIFO for now. What if you have been using weighted average since beginning? What should have been the value of inventory? Forget FIFO. What if we have been using weighted average since beginning? What should be the value of inventory on 31st March 17?
6200.
6200, but it is 4500. It is 4500. So we'll take the difference and we'll record 6200 because we want it on weighted average now. We want our balance sheet to show weighted average. Clear?
I just got one question.
Yes.
So we are talking about that IFRS is practical to do so, right? And
Your voice is very low. Your voice is very low, Kshitij.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So what I'm saying that we are talking about it as far as it is practical to do so, right?
Yes.
And to take any impact in the earliest comparative or the beginning of the earliest period, we have to go beyond the previous month, previous years, right?
Yes, right.
So the question is that as per the Companies Act or as per the income tax rule, we need to maintain our accounts for some period, let's say 4, 6 or 7 years, right?
Yes.
We do have that. So isn't that
So the
we should be
practicality
saying
will
that
be, so the practicality will be those 7 years till the time we maintain our accounts.
all right.
Okay.
So it means that every time when we do any change in accounting procedure,
Whenever, yes, you got it now. Whenever there is a change in accounting policy, whenever there is a correction of prior period error, this happens only once in the lifetime of a company. First time adoption of IFRS happens only once in lifetime of a company. Whenever we change in accounting policy or whenever there is a correction of prior period error, we need to present 3 balance sheets that year. Current year, comparative, and one more of the beginning of the earliest period presented. Got it now?
yeah.
Yes, Praveen, your question was regarding transition dates and first financial year dates. Or is it clear? So what I was trying to highlight was, okay, I'll
Yeah.
clarify. I'll clarify, I know your doubt. What I was trying to clarify was that when you read these transitional provisions into standards, or whenever there is a guidance coming in to transit to Ind AS, the guidance is such that the date of transition is 1st April 17. And sometimes they don't tell the date of transition, they say that it is applicable from financial year 1st April 18. So which means one and the same thing. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. First, okay, got your point, sir. Got it.
Okay, because I knew what is creating confusion.
Sir, my
Any other-
assumption was financial year means it's financial year means 18 means 18, 19.
18,
But I
19,
got your
beginning
point.
from 1st April 18, 19. That you have to apply this new change in accounting policies. There is a transition and you have to apply this change in accounting policy from financial year 1st April 18. Means your first balance sheet of 31st March 19 will be including that. And they call it financial year means whenever you begin your new period from 1st April, please use this new accounting policy. Do not follow the old accounting. Use the new accounting. But even if you use new accounting for 1st April 18 and in your balance sheet of 31st March 19, you follow new accounting and present your balance sheet. But for comparative, you need to go back and apply the change in 31st March 18. For comparative, you also need to bring cumulative effect in the 1st April 17. So whenever there is a change in accounting policy, whenever there is a correction of prior period error, or whenever you are changing the gap, you are required to present 3 balance sheets.
Got your point, sir.
Yeah, that I understand. But in the beginning of earlier period presented, is it mandate to take the impact of say past say 7 years?
It is as I said, it is depending on whether this change is cumulative in nature. Definitely, you need to take the impact. If it is only impacting one particular year, then we can directly adjust it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay, so I mentioned it here, the effect of impact, and highlight it. I think that will make more sense. Clear? Any other question? Hope this has given a lot of clarity now on transitioning, on accounting policy changes, on correction of prior period errors.